his wife just passed away.
Okay. So he's struggled with all his sisters and then
Find a seat. Okay.
Hi guys.
Allison, hi.
Sorry, I have Karen Spencer as a guest today.
Hi, Karen Spencer.
Good, how are you? I'll buy $5 worth. What do you want? I'll buy 5 yet. There I am.
You want 5?
Sure.
Hi, how are you? Good, how are you? Good, thank you.
Thanks.
I am keeping busy. It's good.
Thank you. Now, find a seat.
I'll take 3. You want some tickets?
And Joel, I'll have an announcement after lunch, just a bit.
You guys at the head table.
Yes.
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Well, I hide the money from her. She takes the
Make sure we have enough seats for everyone.
Whatever you put in the bulletin.
We have a few up here yet. We can move them up to the big table here to, if it's more
To put it back
there.
in so that, you know, increase my odds again.
Thank you.
We still got a spot there for me somewhere?
kids.
Okay. I'd like to thank Bill Green, who stood in to be our impromptu greeter today. He was greeting us when we came in. Being that Troy brought the music for us to enjoy earlier today, maybe he can lead us into Todd brought the music for us. Maybe Todd can lead us into Canada. I'm sorry we don't have a flag.
Pretend it's on there.
The flag couldn't go into this room because the ceiling is too low. So.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true faith and love, in our son's command, with flowing hearts we see rise up true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land, glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Better than the All-Star game.
Hey, everyone raise their glass.
Was it bad?
The toast to Canada. Canada. And the Queen.
Queen.
Please bow your head. Service happens in laughter and friendship. Service happens in quiet conviction. Service happens in firm intention. Service happens in growing kinship to all humanity. Please help us always remember to place service above self. Amen. Please be seated.
You got me down? Yeah. Thank you.
Did any Rotarians bring a guest today?
I'd like to introduce Karen Spencer. Karen is the Executive Director at Financial.
Gentlemen, how are you?
All right. Karen, any other guests? I guess
Just the one guest we have today.
and Bobby.
Oh, and our speaker who will be introduced shortly.
Rotarians, how do we greet our guests? And with that, I guess the head table can go on down and help themselves at the end.
So, I'm just deciding, did I supposed to do this, or are you supposed to ask that question?
I don't know. Why don't you do it? Change the
And they call their names and I turn away.
I need to.
Because of
How are you? Bob? So we're back to zero, right? We're back to zero.
Tim, I'm here. I had a meeting, but I'm not staying for lunch, so okay. Mark the president and pay. Okay. Okay.
That was lame. Good job.
I thought I was going to get
It's meter money. Okay.
Did she say Karen Spencer's the replacement?
We're trying to hire some more people, but
Allison Scott has a guest, Karen Spencer. Is she the new CEO that replaces Allison? You know?
I never heard her like that.
Maybe she is.
Hi, John. How are you?
Hello. How are you? Wonderful to see you.
You too.
Cheers.
All right, John.
Greetings. I'm well. I'll do 3 tickets, please, just because Laura needs my money.
There you go.
Why, thank you, good sir.
Oh, geez.
If you can find me a $5 bill or something that resembles 5. Doesn't look too promising?
You might have to buy 6. I don't know what it is.
Well, that's all I have, so we can make up change later, or...
I'll get some change from the front desk.
Oh, I don't mind. No, I don't mind running to do it, Jim. So.
Okay.
Do you want more change than that? How about I get you 4 5s,
Yeah.
just in case?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, all of a sudden, all our... They captured it all. Cash.
oh, did they?
So is there any comeback special then, Bob? What's that? Is there going to be a comeback special? Not much.
John Strong, did you get him? John,
What your memory?
the past president.
Oh, John Thompson?
Thompson, yes.
He said he's not staying for lunch, so we'll have to take him off on here.
Oh,
15 for you, 5 for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. I did leave the 20 behind before, right?
Yeah.
Or 10. No, 10. Yeah, I left. Yes, I did. Because that's what I had.
so he loses on that if you don't pick him up.
Well, he's gonna pay regardless.
Yeah.
It's whether the club pays.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I'm told sometimes. Trying to think too hard. There you go.
It worked out all right. It worked out all right.
All things, I think. Bob, are you going to be talking about the music initiative? That was pretty neat, art.
I didn't spell the question.
Oh, that was great.
But I kind of knew.
It's true.
Yeah.
Although it's also great programming, like when they get something new.
How are you? Well, it is, and I've been in the weeds.
They need a bit of a news.
Yeah, I've been in the weeds. I think going and sending it to him, so we kind of know that just on the way over from the library today, I stopped twice. That's
great.
Yeah, I got it. We're very
Such a great idea. And it's nice to have
sunlight from it. This whole partnership is awesome. Just under 6 months ago, right? Big investment. And they've done this at Montreal, Calgary, at least 10 times this time. And so for them to make an investment, so they're ready. Our jobs are
Well, that's the one.
after 9 months in the basement.
Well, there when I was trying to set it up a while back. Right as soon as
I did normally.
yes, sir.
Well, I want to focus on this.
Stephen, go ahead and go this way.
Yeah.
Let's get away.
Or the employees these are people who are not made with anything else.
Something easier to have.
I looked into
Pull out whatever you want. You got.
first thing up iron.
My son's a musician. My son is a musician. He totally, yeah.
That was my mom's
Yeah. So he's, it's a certain personality, so he works for music. So you have to make it
You can get around those things. You decided to pick some people, I think nobody can afford that. How would you think it was it? That's right. While we're waiting for that, it's the water counter. Well, at least that outbreak, because that's what we're trying to do.
When David was about 12, I started hanging around.
We got in the afternoon, I'm doing
So the guys are always.
Is there still a seat there? I can get by yours.
I'm sure if anybody came into your store, they could have been there for hours.
Yeah.
Yes, good.
Yes. They are operating the same room that upstairs. It only holds 4 to 2 Mike can turn up there and he'll
It's not so much the kind of it, the market of buildings. too big. Especially in vintage.
Good move.
And you don't feel blockaded back here.
Okay, so we got 10, 20, 30, 34.
They're all the colors.
So how does that direct?
Do you know Kevin Ramsey?
Where?
At Log 42. Kevin's pal, inside of his
entertainment groups. Right. Oh, that's like right for the authentic feel and simplicity.
Kevin's been back and forth.
Licensing.
How many times?
Well, there's only even this one.
They told me to the center of the table, so I just assumed it was right.
Yeah.
2, 4, 6, 8, 9.
Everything that we originally had.
It sounds like an AA.
Get all our confessions.
My son's a musician. Local musician? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you need the strudel?
There's a question over the I'm open. Also encourage speeding things up because that's the other problem.
Yeah.
Did you count?
Good guess.
Not a problem, it's a collection. Just like Jay Leno.
Any missing?
Obviously, it's a lot of revenue. Fashion shows, getting out of there. Are they going to go to the they're all going to where's the actor? One of the holes right there. 42 hour adult.
So the normal thing I said. So we
That's off the shut that makes the steel track.
It's a great part.
Well, it is now because of the roundabout. They said.
Everybody has the same. Yeah, so that's my favorite.
Yeah, which is
All of the
I guess we have to know how much.
So I need $54 covers the noise, and the rest is the pot. So how much have we got in total?
136.
These other notes, this kind of
Using $82.
82?
$82 for the pot.
they have this other solid.
So half of that.
Yep.
Think about it, we were spread out.
Now, I just sit down and play one chord.
I know from passport.
I put it down and done for the day. Yeah, honestly, good. It's just shifting and moving it that way.
Determined it should be a
They all have a different story.
Yeah.
And skills done. And they don't have him. Those are the most sought.
They don't have you to get on that.
Why is that?
Warmer sound.
I mean, this is technology from the 20s. Certainly the 40s, but they have not been able to improve. All up for someone else one of the trips have been
Work on the way home.
A couple of strategies.
Iowa?
Somebody in town that does Oh, I didn't know. I thought you'd be confident.
They're not light to carry.
So, okay.
They're not that light to carry.
Right.
No, this room have ability to leave it before it goes to serve. Historically, it stands up for the stories. Now we're in legal talks.
So you're keeping busy in your semi-retirement?
It's pretty tight. Passport.
Well, I'm not really semi-retired. I'm doing the estate planning business half-time, roughly, and I'm doing consulting for Henry. Also half-time. He's got about a $5 million building. He's putting in a building out of his building, so I'm doing the project management for that.
Next week would be.
And then the rest of my time is
So, where the heck are they going to spend an addition?
Just put her on the parking lot.
I saw you.
Go up?
And you just had all
It's going to go on the back parking lot. Henry's bought, the street that's right behind his building is called Becker Street. And he's bought the 3 houses that are along Becker, and he's going to tear those down, and that's going to become parking out just further back.
Then he tells the story and then he.
It's going to be almost 50% bigger.
Just.
He's going to have a second chapel, and 3 more visitation rooms, 4 more offices, and 4 washrooms.
Do like
So I'm learning all about dealing with architecture planners, and
So who's the architect on?
a guy named Cianfroni, Angelo Cianfroni from Hamilton. He was involved in the earlier projects there. So.
Yeah.
Robertson is doing the engineering.
So music is one art.
GSP is doing the planning. So all good people.
Couldn't have asked for better weather. As far as that first overcast, first 60 volts, it's nice.
Discussion was on two universities and college.
I couldn't believe one of that nine.
Henry's still a member?
That'd just be a nice.
Seemed like a nice number. He just finds it really difficult to get away from me. So,
Well, you know, it's fairly isolated.
he's got a building that's open from 8 in the morning till 10 at night, 7 days a week. And,
It's a tough job.
you really can't plan ahead. Because, things change, minute by minute.
They were hitting right at people.
They got in more.
And I also get it's a nice fit for me because I also get involved in my deal with Henry is I'll give anything that's part of my time if they need help with getting on track with administering the state. I'll get that for free, but it's going to be very often that I will pay for my time. We should probably have a chat again sometime or other.
Yeah, we sold our property, so it's more urgent that we're trying to, we got a lot of work to do on them.
Yep.
So, then I got 3 jobs. One with the manufacturing, and one with the B&B, and then one when I get home to renovate my house.
You want to put that on your September?
Tried to September. I don't know whether I'll do it. My grandkids are complaining we haven't been out of Vancouver for over a year. And it's supposed to be there in the summer. I don't know how I'm going to get there.
I'll put it on my diary this year.
They're probably they like it.
Time to get out of Dodge.
Figure I'll get here somehow. I'll just take 2. I don't have another unit, so I'm just going for 2. That's okay. Thanks, Bob.
I wouldn't do it for Dell.
Nice haircut.
Okay. How are you doing? I'm good. How are you? Much shorter. Good. Thanks.
Oh, okay. Yes, yeah. But we never.
Yeah, no problem.
You gotta read it.
Oh, the 23rd. It was like section that was really.
Oh, the day of the
But anyway, yeah.
Great tournament.
Count Ian coming in late.
What's that?
Did Count Ian coming in late? Oh, it's 32 now?
Now we've got
Oh, yeah.
$140,
Well,
41. You put in a 5.
I put in.
Minus
And I am not spending it.
Did you have her signed in before? Was she just doing that?
We're talking about Catherine. Yeah, I had her sign So I'm away next week, but I'll be back for the last meeting of the month.
Yeah, I'll email her on. You can just get it. I can always.
Good for you.
Yeah.
See, when you're retired, you can do this stuff. Barbs. Get in away from the truck.
Yeah, when you said last week about the restaurant, I was thinking of that other restaurant. I guess that's that.
We even have a minute, sir. Somehow I actually
Yeah, we have every.
Why is it? We have a couple of seniors and yeah, I don't know. Honorary members. In case we should eat this. They don't know.
I don't think I'm going to be able to stay for I have to be at a meeting at 1 o'clock. So
So what goes in ground here?
We should stop by tickets.
Well, that's what I mean. It is right.
Our ticket draws here.
You should have heard the drones. Oh my goodness.
There's a petition going around. The announcements for today. We have one birthday. Our honorary member, Marie Millard, is June 11th. No wedding anniversaries and no club anniversaries this week.
June 11th?
July. Club business, July 19th. We have a meeting in Uptown Development update, and the 26th is an off-site meeting at the Boathouse. Want to speak about as well as Rotary representatives at the Parent and Community Living Golf Tournament was held on July 7th, the Aris Valley Golf Club. 9 members participated. Brandon Fleming, he came away with the putting championship, and it says here, Booming Rick Bolzon crushed the tee shot to win the longest drive competition.
Even a blind squirrel can find it out once in a while.
Anybody else have something to add to that? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank the Rotarians that came out to support our golf tournament this year. We had a decent turnout, not as good as last year, but we still raised approximately $12,000 to raise funds for a computer apprenticeship program that teaches youth with disabilities digital literacy skills. So really appreciate those who came out, but also those who sponsored bowls and also donated prizes. So thanks again for your support. Really appreciate it.
I did also want to say that Brad, Brendan, Todd, and myself, we actually won the tournament as well, but that's... No, I don't think so.
Was attendance that low?
And what's the pot today?
Can I just do an announcement?
Okay, go ahead.
Just for those Rotarians who know Joe McDonald, who's a senior active member of our club, his wife passed away just recently, and the arrangements are in process. So if you know Joe, just keep your eye posted for details on that coming up.
Todd, you had something?
On August 21st, Monday, August 21st, is the Women's Crisis Services Golf Tournament. The brochures are on the table. We're about 10 foursomes away from a sellout again. Leo, Toby, and I are on the committee. We have been for a few years, but this year more than ever, it's very crucial. This is an important fundraiser, and as you read in the paper last week, they've had to shut down 26 beds, I believe, 13 at each shelter, due to the new mortgage on the new building, etc., other things. But this is an important fundraiser, a great way to have fun. Come out with, put a couple of Rotary foursomes together. It's at the Historic Golf Country Club, $185 per person before July 15th. So if you register before the weekend, you can email Leo or I, or the information is also on here. You can register online. And that includes lunch, dinner, golf carts, prizes, lots of fun, right, Leo?
Yeah, and what's unique about this, we're limiting it to 132 golfers, so that the pace of play, you're in and out. When we say done at 8, it's done at 8.
Done at 8 o'clock at the latest, yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you're interested, any questions, let me know.
I want to ask all of our members if they know of anybody who would be a good speaker. We are reaching out to everybody. Criteria really are people who are passionate about what they're speaking on, and it has some relevance to our area. So if anybody has any people they're connected with who would like, or you think would be good for us, please reach out to myself or Andrew.
I am doing a new thing with our meetings, where I am live streaming our meetings, which is happening. Today's my first test day. And we have a YouTube channel. I'm going to be sending out an email, but I just wanted to explain a bit how we have a YouTube channel. So if you can't make the meeting, you can actually go to the YouTube, or you can't even get on at that time because you're busy. You can go to the YouTube channel and watch the whole meeting that we had that day, and it'll be there for a while, so you can go back and look at it. I am putting a process in to know who watched it, so we can see, we can count it to your attendance.
Yes. Will that count towards attendance?
We're looking into that now.
So yeah, well, I'll have something there, and I'll have that in the email so we can know that you participated. And then if you say you've been, the tricky part is I can see how long you've watched it for, to know that you actually been a part of the meeting. So I just want to let you know that, and you'll get an email out with the link, so you can always go to our channel and take a look.
Thank you, Everton, for allowing me to be your first guinea pig. Do we have a 50-50 number?
Yes, $43.
$43 is our 50-50 model.
Twice in 2 months, thanks.
$43, 752-651.
Alright, you need to buy a foursome for sure.
Oh, do not.
Beat the black marble out.
That would be hilarious.
I have an announcement. I've only won it twice, and the first time I won it was $82.
Okay, yeah.
And I wasn't even a member yet, so just.
And to that, how many times have you gone up?
I lost track.
752-631.
Yeah, that's better.
You did, got it jumped done.
Okay, you gotta lose some weight, Troy.
I know. Dummy.
Seven 752-648.
First
wins, then very next.
Too bad.
And the pot grows. Next on the list here, Rotary Trivia. Ed sends me, says, which of our current club members, including honorary members, was the first to be club president of our club?
Jack Duffy.
Wilcox.
He's got Glenn McCann. Mackin. Glenn Mackin.
No.
Jack Duffy.
That's what he said.
We were there, weren't we?
19.
Was it Jack Duffy?
Is this a trivia question?
1983 to 1984, he said.
We started in 81. We started in
No,
81.
of current members, the question.
Oh, current.
Yeah.
Ah.
Don Wilcox,
We weren't listening.
a current member, including honorary members, he says.
Then
He'd be the first president of our club.
That's why we have lawyers to do fine details.
And then Don Wilcox was president the following year. Anyone else have any other announcements or things they'd like to add? And I'll call upon Larry Maslow to introduce our speaker.
Apparently he's not.
He's gone.
There he is.
All right. I thought I scared him
I'm a
off.
little skinnier.
I'm not doing this.
All right. Today's speaker is Bob Egan. Bob is best known for his 18-year membership in the Canadian band Blue Rodeo. I think most of you have probably heard of that. Prior to his career in music, Bob was a management consultant with a master's degree in industrial organization psychology, specializing in employee attitude research. He left the business world at the age of 38 to pursue a career as a musician and toured the world, meeting his heroes and living his childhood dream. In May 2014, he was awarded the Governor General's Award for his work with Blue Rodeo and their impact on Canada's cultural life. Here in Kitchener, Bob is known for his guitar repair business, his design of the Modern Audio Arts program for Conestoga College, and his guitar charity, 100 Guitars for 100 Kids, which contributed over 150 guitars in 2016 to youth who could not afford them. In 2016, Bob left Blue Rodeo to join the Kitchener Public Library as manager of community development, where he is responsible for working with community partners to close the digital literacy gap and create opportunities to change and enrich lives in the community. So join me in welcoming Bob.
Beautifully. I don't know who your speechwriter is, but that is
I spent all morning on it.
Will, if I stand up front, do you need to adjust that? You're good. I'm not going to say the canned opening, which is such an honor to be here. I will convey the excitement of my 90-year-old mother, who, with all of the accolades and awards I've received over my music career, I would say tell her I'm speaking to a Rotary Club, the highlight of her life. She thought I had finally arrived. So, on behalf of my 90-year-old mother, thank you. Finally, I'm here. About a year ago, there was an article in the on the CBC website about me leaving Blue Rodeo for the Kitchener Public Library. And I found out shortly after that, I guess it was in December, that it was the 5th most frequently read article of the year on the CBC locally here, which I thought was a pretty impressive feat. You know, I was going around my house chanting, "I'm number 5, I'm number 5." I should have left it at that. Instead, I looked to see what the 1 through 4 was, and it was a story about a lost dog. Student loans are now available for students to pick up. You know, these are the top stories. So it's a roundabout way of saying I'm very humbled to be honored in such a way to actually having been invited to join Blue Rodeo 18 years ago, 19 years ago now. But the big question that people ask me is, how does a guy leave a band like Blue Rodeo for a job at the library? They're like, this is either a brilliant strategic move or it's a cry for help. Well, you know, they have a point, because if you look at my life in Blue Rodeo, it's pretty good. I don't know if any of you ever have the chance to become a professional rock star. I would say jump at it, because it's fantastic. You know, I've traveled the world. I've spent 23 years in the music business. I've been everywhere from the Arctic Circle to Australia. I've been everywhere from Austin, Texas to Afghanistan, right? Playing for the troops with the Stanley Cup. It's just been an amazing amount of experiences. I've been able to play on the David Letterman show, the Conan O'Brien show. I was even flown to Paris for 5 days to play a 3-minute song on a French puppet show. That's rock and roll. I know. All my meals are catered, right? I've got people that take care of everything. I don't touch my equipment. People carry it for me. They set it up. I don't tune my guitars. I don't even have to put my guitar on. All I do is turn around. There's John Farnsworth. He puts a guitar on and puts a pick in my hand. All I have to do is go wheedly, wheedly, wheedly for 90 minutes a night, and I make an incredible living. It's mind-blowing, right? You know, as I'm talking about this, I'm thinking, wow, I want that job. Great job. And to top this off, I got 280 days off a year. Wow. So what makes a guy leave that to go to work at a library? Well, if you look throughout history at the great accomplishments of most men, you'll see there was a woman responsible for it. And that woman was Mary Chevreau, the CEO of Kitchener Public Library. She came to me in May and said, we're going to do an event about digital literacy. I want your opinion on some things. We started talking, and the more we talked, the more we realized how much our vision of what this town could be was in sync. And at the end of this conversation, it lasted about an hour and 15 minutes, I said, I want to apply for a job. I want to work here. And her response was, well, that's impossible because you'd have to leave Blue Rodeo. And I said, I can do that. You have laid out a vision of the library in which I would have a role in changing a lot of lives. And at age 60, age 59, 61 today, by the way. At that age, you don't often get a chance like this. A chance to be able to change a lot of lives. So, that's what made me take the job. Now, her vision of a library is a lot different from probably what most of us experienced when we were kids. Nobody's going, shh. And you know what? It's not about the books anymore. It's about serving the community. So we're seeing this trend in libraries all across the Western world, all across Europe, North America. Libraries are now becoming cultural hubs, artistic hubs, and community-oriented centers. They're looking for new ways to serve the communities in which they reside. And Mary's big thing is we want to expand the definition of literacy. We figure after a couple thousand years, libraries have done a pretty good job. Most people know how to read and write, although that's starting to go away with the younger generation. And one of the big areas, and Mary's, in her view, she said there's a currency, there's a value in artistic literacy, there's a value in musical literacy, and there's especially a value these days in digital literacy. Because if you are a kid or an adult, or my 90-year-old mother, and you don't know how to do this, you don't know how to do this, or this, your life will be severely compromised in the area of in your social life. Probably your occupational options are going to be limited, and your earning potential is going to be severely curtailed. They say by the year 2020, 78% of all jobs will require a significant degree of digital literacy. People come back and say, well, you know, you could always repair cars. Not without a computer. You can't even be a barista without knowing how to work an iPad. So Mary's vision is that the library now takes on this mantle of digital literacy. This is the literacy of our times. And people say, well, doesn't everybody have access to the internet? Not so. We've got an internet lending program at the library, won an award for, where we have, I think it's 40-some hotspots that you can check out for 3 weeks at a time with your library card. I think the waiting list is well into the hundreds. The people come to check these out to gain access to this, what we consider as an essential service, right? I met recently with people from social service agencies, from the region, from these different departments, and they estimate that there's a minimum of 12,000 people in this town. These are new Canadians and immigrants here who desperately need digital literacy skills because you cannot access the services of the region and of the community without knowing how to navigate an iPad or an iPhone or any kind of a phone or a kiosk. That this is the literacy of our time. There's an incredible demand for this in the community. So our answer to that at Kitchener Public Library is to create a state-of-the-art digital media lab where everyone from the community is invited to come into this place. It's open from 9 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, and to have free access to digital technology. Now, we're not talking just iPads and iPhones. We're talking audio and video recording studios and audio and video recording gear. We're talking the ability to make podcasts and radio broadcasts. We're talking the ability to play and work with games. You know, gaming is the new frontier. 10 years from now, the majority of education will be gamified. That's where it's all going. This is one of the primary ways we teach social justice to kids is through games. This is their language. And at the library, you're not going to be able to only play those games, you're going to create those games. You're going to have the opportunity to code and program and learn the hard skills that are in such demand in today's society. Gaming, virtual reality. We have virtual reality now. We are now moving into virtual reality programming. So kids, adults can come in, check out the cameras with their library card and create virtual reality environments. Mind-blowing stuff. Gaming, podcasting, broadcasting, regular STEM and STEAM education, right? The science, the technology, the engineering, the arts, and the math. This is our vision for Studio Central. And we're already halfway there because we've got the gaming, 3D printing. We have 4 3D printers that are running every hour that we're open. You know, you stop in there in the summer, you'll see 50 to 60 people in Studio Central at any given time, working on virtual reality, coding, or doing 3D printing. It's mind-blowing, the demand for these services. And we work in partnership with many agencies throughout the town, right? Because our goal is not just to open this to the neighborhood kids, it's to have a very strategic recruitment effort so that we get into the corners of our society. We find those people who are disenfranchised, those people who don't think the library is the place for them, those people who don't belong. That's who we are looking for to bring in and say, you do belong. This is the place for you, is our library. Now, Studio Central has been supported with almost an embarrassment of riches in-kind donations. We have had just 2 weeks ago, a pallet arrived in our loading dock, and in it was 100 Apple Macintosh Pro computers. Retail value $250,000. That was a gift from a major tech company. We will launch this, we will announce this in probably September. You can imagine what we can do with 100 Apple computers, you know, how we can spread the word here. It's going to be amazing. There is an old factory in town, the Tannoy Speaker Factory over on Gage Avenue. You all know that place? Yeah. Any of you? Yes, it's been bought by the 6th largest music company in the world, the Music Group. This company makes the majority of music gear out there, all kinds of things. Their owner is a Swiss man living in the Philippines who works in his factories in China. The local head of this factory, we worked for months on how to pitch this guy. We had about 6 minutes to give him the pitch to support the library. This local fellow here, Fred Spakeen, flew over to the Philippines, then to Singapore, took a half-day trip on a boat up the river into China, just out of, you know, Apocalypse Now. Met with a guy, Uli Behringer. He had 6 minutes, he pitched him on the library. Uli said, yes, I'll do it. So we have now at our disposal over $50,000 US dollars worth of audio equipment to outfit our recording studios. That's 5 separate recording studios for audio and video. That equipment has been donated. They also have donated 600 hours of their employees' time over a 2-year period to come in and teach and support us here in the library. Amazing. And you saw the headlines probably on Tuesday morning from our launch of the Sun Life Financial Musical Instrument Lending Library. You know, hats off to Sun Life. Let's give them a round of applause. They understand the value of what music in a community does. You know, the research is pretty clear. Having a child learn music and play music with there is no other activity that has greater cognitive benefits than music. It ties together everything they do in school, which blows my mind that it's been cut from the school curriculums. It's just mind-blowing. It ties together math, science, physics, the arts, and when you come over to the other side of the equation, as our mayor of Kitchener, Barry Verbanovic, said at this launch, it is also very highly correlated with increased socialization, social skills, decreased drug use, and better grades at school. That's what learning music does. So Sun Life saw the value in coming to Kitchener Public Library and investing just under $100,000 in this program. We now have, as of Monday morning, 150 instruments, violins, banjos, guitars, pianos, that you can check out with your library card for 3 weeks. Just by sliding that library card, you can walk out of there. And this morning I went and counted how many instruments were left. It was about 53, 54. So we've checked out 100 instruments in the first 24 hours of having this program open. Is there a demand for that? I would say so. So this concept of Studio Central, of this digital literacy, it's not only digital literacy, but it's a creative literacy. The future of communication, it's this right here. It's video. Facebook, by the year 2020, will be text-free. It's going to be all video. Every kid has that on their phones. This is how they communicate. We are going to be a step ahead of the curve to make sure everyone has access to that technology. And Sun Life gets it. They're supporting it with a music component. So this builds out from our digital literacy, our artistic creative literacy, our musical literacy. And what this does is create a library that's not the library of our generation. This is that hub where the community can come together. Now you know, and I may be stepping on thin ice here, but the city has been struggling to get a creative hub up and off the ground for probably 7 or 8 years since I've been involved with the city. It's just not taking root. There are so many barriers in the way to that. We've got it. We have it at the library, a city building, right? This is where this is going to be. They recently went through consultations with, 3 different consultations with artists last year. Said, what are the 8 things that you want in a creative space? 6 of those 8 things are right here in the library. They're already there. So we see our future as amazing, right? This is why I left Blue Rodeo, because I've got this opportunity in front of me to not only change individual lives, but to help shift and change perhaps an entire culture, an entire generation. And we're not doing it alone, right? We've had a lot of our tech partners step up to the plate. We've had academia step up to the plate. I've got a stack of resumes about that thick of individuals from this community who've come up to me in the barn-raising Mennonite tradition and said, I have this skill, this is great, I want to help. Let me know when I can help. It's an embarrassment of riches. So we are currently, just to cap this up now, and I know this is not a pitch meeting, it's just to inform you what we're doing. We are currently, the challenge in front of us is the actual bricks and mortar build out of a section of Studio Central. That is the audio and video recording studios and the gaming development area. We've engaged the architects. It's all set and it's shovel ready. And we're looking for that money for the bricks and mortars. It's about $250,000, so not a big ask. And we've been talking to the right people. I'm new to development, right? So this is a lot of fun. We're talking to the right people, lining up the right people. We're expecting that something will get off the ground by the end of the year. And that is going to really drive home what Studio Central is. And our MP, Raj Saini, was by the other day, and he looked in there with these 60 kids, and he said, my goodness, once you build off this part, you're not going to have room for the capacity or what's going to happen here. You're just going to be overwhelmed. He said, we got a plan B, it's upstairs in the back. So we're already looking at that expansion. So that's my story. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to talk to you.
You said you've accommodated 6 of the 8 requests or likes from the. What are the 2 that you don't have?
Well, let's see. It was. Let's see. We're close to public transit. We've got a coffee shop. We've got a meeting space. We've got a performance space at 200-seat theater. We will have audio and video recording facilities. Kitchen, that was one they wanted in a creative space. And I forget what the last one. It was a daycare. We don't have the kitchen or the daycare. Yes.
Yeah. I've been exposed to a lot of old or former musicians, and you have been most articulate and passionate. I really love what I hear you saying. Is there any way in which we can expand and make this a movement to put music and arts back in education?
Well, that is a noble goal. I think, in my experience all through life, doing without asking permission is the proof of the pudding, right? So our goal with this Sun Life program is to collect stories, because that's what moves people. When you return an instrument to the library, you're going to fill out a short survey, and we're going to ask you, did this change your life? What does this mean? We're going to collect that story. And I think these stories, of course, will go back to Sun Life, but this idea of taking that back to education would be amazing. Now,
with a corporate partner like that, it might help.
It might help. You know, there's such a demand for it. With my guitar charity, right? It's 150 guitars a year I have no problem giving away. And we partnered up with a couple schools to do that. So with the right corporate partner, we could maybe even fund a position that we place into the schools. right? So that it's not a burden on the school. We like to look at things in new ways, right? I'm a new to development, and I've talked to a few of our big benefactors, and I've learned right away, no more wine and cheese, no black tie affairs, do something different. So we've been given a license to do something different. I can find a corporate partner, and I probably will, that could sponsor someone who could go into the schools to teach. Boy, wouldn't that be an alpha case and change? Now, we already do that through donations to Lutherwood. My guitar charity does. That's on a smaller scale. But I think we could easily make the case to reverse this trend.
Just to add to that, I'm involved with Drayton Entertainment, and we started a music camp last year, and they're overwhelmed with applicants. 600 kids per theater.
Yes.
Who want to study music and theater and arts.
And that tells you something right there, right? And I'll tell you, if we took the music approach, I could call on Jim Cuddy again. I could call on a lot of people. The musicians who have made it in this country understand that you have a responsibility to reach back and pull others up the ladder. We could line up top-notch talent to support this. So let's keep in touch on that. That would be amazing.
As the resident insurance broker, how do you deal with the instruments if they come back in not the condition they went out? Do you have, like, does the library insure it?
We have a, yes, well, library insures everything. Right. But we have a repair service, my former guitar shop, which I divested myself of. I gave it to the employees, so I'm no longer involved. And it's 2 blocks away from the library. And we've been able to broker a very favorable deal for the library there with the current employees. So we're covered there. Well, that's what I say. Everyone has stepped up to the plate. How can I help? When I get back to my office, I'm going to have 6 or 7 calls saying, we've got a piano, we've got a tuba, you know, can we bring that down? Or, I teach music, do you need music teachers? Things like this, right? And in fact, that's the next step. We're looking at group lessons. One other quick aside is that the ukulele is the instrument of now, right? Have you caught on to that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you go down to Arizona or Florida, winter down there, you'll see roving bands of seniors playing the ukes. It's a bit scary. But we recently got a donation to 100 guitars for 100 kids, our charity, which I founded, by the way, with Rick Andrewlott and Cynthia Sundberg from the School of Rock here at Kitchener. Wilfrid Laurier alumni, very active in the community. We got a donation of about $3,000 from a golf tournament, a memorial golf tournament, for John Demeter, ran the carpet store out of Victoria. He, about a year ago, died of a heart attack. His widow and his kids put together this golf tournament, donated the proceeds to 100 guitars for 100 kids. So I'm sitting there with this money, and we've got plenty of guitars to give away this year. I got a hold of his widow and said, here's an idea. I want to start a ukulele program, and I want John's money to fund that. I want to buy 50 ukuleles, and we're going to put 10 of them in each of our branches of our library for programming. So they will have uke jams, you know, every other week. And I want John's money to pay for this. And then I want to bring together all 50 of these players around Christmas time to play in the nursing homes. I want them to play at the nurseries. I want them to play, you know, at the hospitals, at the civic events. And I want this to grow into a ukulele army that can grow up to 100 people and use them to, as a, yeah, think of that, huh? Wouldn't you pay $10 to see that? Yeah. And to use this as a charity device to raise money for music in schools. And his wife signed off on that. And after she did, I felt, I just had this giddiness. I'm walking down the street on my way to work at the library and had this little bit of out-of-body experience, and which is strange because it's been, you know, a couple decades since I've tried to do that. And I was a musician. And I just saw John Demeter looking down at me going, ukuleles, really? This is my legacy? Come on. you know? And I conveyed that to his wife and children. They said we laughed and cried at the same time. So this is what I mean about, I have this concept of powerful platforms. I'm not doing anything special here. I'm just creating this platform for the community to come and give. And it's an embarrassment of riches, because people are saying, I want to be a part of that. That's cool. That's different. You were a Blue Rodeo. I love Blue Rodeo. What can I do, right? I knew that, you know, a month after joining Blue Rodeo, I'm from the States. Don't hold that against me. I moved up here from Oxford, Mississippi, and I knew within a month of joining Blue Rodeo that the money they paid me was only half the compensation package. The other half was the goodwill of the Canadian people. And I, for the last 17 and a half years in that band, I said, someday I'm going to cash this out, and I'm going to use this for the greater good. And this is my chance. And it is just, you know, I'm 61 years old. I feel like I'm a teenager. I cannot wait to go to work every day because I get to do this. I get to change lives. And, you know, that's why I left Blue Rodeo. So, any other questions?
Bob, on behalf of Kitchener Westmount Rotary, fascinating talk. One of the things that hit me through your discussion was just, you know, despite a number of efforts that we all are witness to that, you know, try and kill arts, art somehow always finds the bubble its way to the surface and kind of collect us all and remember actually why we're here. Everything else is a means to that. And through your leadership and leadership of some of the people you work with, we're certainly privileged to have you as a displaced Southerner up here working on behalf of us for that. And we really do appreciate it. And we certainly appreciate the 3 careers you've had. You know, first of all, a career generally being called to work, to go to school and get educated, and then a call to, you know, create a colossal amount of memories, I'm sure, that most of us have in regards to professional music career. And now, even more importantly, paying it forward for the people who are going to come and hopefully provide us additional memories and such going forward. And grateful is, I guess, the only word that I can come up with at this point in time. So, on behalf of Kitchener Westmount Rotary, we've, as opposed to giving you a trinket or some paperweight, I'm sure you have many of them. We actually we replaced, or sorry, helped the eyesight of a male named Samson, age 60. He now can use his eyes, whereas he couldn't before on behalf of you. So, thank you very much. So that in itself is a memory. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have business cards. You know how to get a hold of me. I'm at the library.
And if there's nothing else for the good of Rotary, meeting's adjourned.
I will take